In Lesson 3, we'll first identify 2 delivery methods for training, and then explore 6 methods commonly used in training. Admittedly, there are many more than 6 methods applied in the training environment. These 6 methods captured here are the most common choices trainers have when selecting training methods. Further, you'll be provided with sound criteria by which to select the best methods for your training session. Trainers have a vast number of options for approaching and developing training. However, there are 2 basic types of training to choose from: synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous training refers to a learning event in which a group of students are engaging in learning at the same time. Synchronous learning often employs classroom-style elements, such as group discussions, team activities, and other elements that the instructor supervises. The learning blocks are completed on a schedule, like a regular classroom, and there's plenty of interaction between students and the instructor. Synchronous learning can take place either in a classroom setting or sometimes online. The main advantages of synchronous learning are: instructors interact with multiple students in real time, instructors can explain certain concepts when students are struggling, and students get immediate answers about any and all aspects of their learning. But the main disadvantages include both the student and the instructor have to adhere to time schedules, much of the training depends on the quality of the instructor, students may not receive individual attention if other students are also in need, and the learning place is set by the instructor, not the students. So let's discuss 3-1, synchronous learning. What are some examples of synchronous learning that you have been a part of? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you have finished, press play to continue the seminar. Asynchronous learning is a student-centered teaching technique in which online learning resources are used to enable information sharing between people in a network. In asynchronous learning, information sharing is not limited by place or time. Asynchronous learning is a standalone approach designed specifically for self-study. Students will gain knowledge from interacting with, reading, watching, and listening to different types of content. In most cases, the students are free to complete coursework at their own pace at any time. Asynchronous is a great method for students who are juggling training as well as their normal workload and personal life. Asynchronous learning has its advantages and disadvantages. The main advantages include: learners can study at any time and place according to their own needs, students have the ability to go back to pieces they need to brush up on, and there's the opportunity to review outside resources that aid instruction. But the main disadvantages include a limited access to the instructor and/or getting answers in real time. Some students may struggle without constant guidance and interaction, and finally, not all instruction is best suited for self-paced learning. So let's discuss 3-2, asynchronous learning. What are some examples of asynchronous learning that you have been a part of? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you've finished, press play to continue the seminar. So how do we choose a method? While synchronous and asynchronous learning each have their advantages and drawbacks, the best approach for a given design is based on multiple factors. Here are 3. 1. The students and their learning needs. 2. The type of content. And 3. The time availability of your learners. While one approach may be more effective than the other in a given situation, it is not to say it is best for all learning situations. Think about each approach and how your content and audience fit to ensure each of your learning objectives are achieved through the training method you select. Now let's do an exercise. 3-1, the delivery method. Determine the best delivery method for the situations outlined in your seminar workbook. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When finished, press play to continue the seminar. Training methods provide the vehicle by which a trainer delivers content to learners. Training methods serve 2 important purposes. 1, they provide a means to learn specific training content as outlined, and 2, they keep participants interested and involved in training, thus enhancing their learning. Trainers must carefully understand the needs of the organization and participants when selecting training methods. In this section, we'll explore common training methods and discuss selection of those methods. Your understanding of training methods will shape the design of your training session plan, so let's get started. Let's discuss 3.3, Training I've Enjoyed. What training activities in this seminar have you enjoyed the most? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you've finished, press play to continue the seminar. There are numerous methods and materials available to help you prepare and equip employees to better do their jobs. Indeed, with so many choices out there, it can become daunting to determine which training methods to use and which to select for the needs of your employees. Using several methods for each training session actually benefits most effective training sessions. For this seminar, we're going to focus on 6 of the most commonly used methods. They include lecture, activities, group discussion, demonstration, case study, and role play. Let's talk about this a little bit. Discussion 3.4, methods in this seminar. Which of the 6 training methods have been used in this seminar so far? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're done, press play to continue the seminar. A lecture is an oral presentation delivered to learners by a trainer. Lectures may or may not include visual aids. During the trainer presentation, the trainer presents information orally, and there's been a lot of research carried out about this type of training method. When preparing your presentation, it's good to bear in mind the following. The brain has an average attention span of 10 minutes unless the trainer does something to stimulate attention, like ask a question, show a slide, or change pace. When a message is given once, the brain remembers only 10% a year later. When the message is repeated 6 times, recall rises to 90%. The brain is more likely to remember the beginning and the end of events, and recall falls rapidly after 24 hours without review of the information. The most common technique for making lectures and presentations more interesting and effective is the use of visual aids, so they're strongly encouraged. Remember, lecturing can be boring and therefore an ineffective way of delivering learning. Visual aids are used in presentations and lectures to illustrate the subject. They can break up monotony and provide visual stimulation to reinforce what learners are listening to. So let's discuss this. 3.5, why lecture? Why do you think the trainer presentation method is so often used in training? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you've finished, press play to continue the seminar. Exercises and activities break up your training session and help to retain class concentration and interest. They also reinforce learning or substitute lectures or presentations as a way to get content information across. In this method, participants take part in an exercise or activity that enables them to practice new skills. There are many different kinds of activities that work well in training. Developing and setting class activities takes careful thought and preparation. Here are some tips. Work out what you want the class to do and whether they should be able to do it individually or in groups. Write a handout that explains how to do the activity. Prepare any additional handouts they might need to do the task. Be clear about the time allowed for the work needed and how feedback will be provided. Remember to include writing time if feedback is to improve presentations or other content related. Be available to answer questions and circulate to each group, and give comments and feedback. So let's discuss 3.6. What about activities? What have been your favorite activities in a class or training? Why did you like them? Why do you remember them? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. In group discussion, the trainer leads participants in a discussion on a particular topic. Discussions of any sort are supposed to help learners develop a better perspective on issue by bringing out diverse perspectives. Through group discussions, participants get a clearer picture of the content and are able to understand it. The understanding makes participants better equipped to apply training content. For any group discussion to be successful, the following characteristics are necessary: having a clear objective, logical presentation of the discussion, a cordial atmosphere, effective communication skills in the room, and participation by all individuals involved. The most useful starting point for a discussion is a well-crafted and clear question presented by the facilitator. Some uses of questions in your discussions include at the beginning of the session, during the session, or at the end of the session to stimulate conversation about relative content. So let's discuss discussions. 3.7. What do you like about discussions in a training session? What don't you like, and why? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you have finished, press play to continue the seminar. In demonstration, participants are shown the correct steps for completing a task, or are shown an example of correctly completing a task. This method is a visual display of how something works or how to do something. As an example, the trainer shows the trainees how to perform or how to do the tasks of a particular job. In order to be more effective, demonstration method should be accompanied by discussion or lectures. To carry out an effective demonstration, a trainer first prepares a lesson plan by breaking the task performed into small parts. Then the trainer sequentially organizes those parts and prepares an explanation of why each is required. While performing a demonstration, the trainer demonstrates the tasks, helps focus attention on specific aspects, tells the trainees what they're doing and why, and explains why it should be carried out that way. After completing the demonstration, the trainer provides feedback, both positive and negative, to give the trainee the opportunity to do the task and describe his or her own performance. Let's discuss this. 3.8. Demonstrations I've seen. Have you been in a course or training session where the instructor demonstrated how to complete a task? What worked well? What didn't work? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When finished, press play to continue your seminar. When case studies are used as a training method, participants are given information about a situation and directed to come to decisions or recommendations regarding a particular scenario. Case studies are descriptions of real-life experiences related to training which are used to make points, raise issues, or otherwise enhance the participant's understanding and learning experience. The account usually follows a realistic scenario, such as management of a technical problem from start to finish. In completing case studies, learners develop practical skills that include identification of problems, understanding of data, analyzing information, recognizing assumptions, thinking analytically and critically, exercising judgment, taking and defending decisions, understanding interpersonal relationships, and communicating ideas and opinions. So let's discuss 3.9. Effective case study. In what situations have you seen a case study be an effective training or learning method? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When finished, press play to continue the seminar. In role plays, participants act out situations while others observe and analyze. When asked to use this method, many participants say, "Nah, I'd rather watch," or "I'll do anything except role play." The reasons for this resistance include not wanting to perform in front of others, or fear of getting it wrong, or not being able to find the right words. Done well, role plays and simulations can be a great way to learn. It's a shame that so many participants have had bad experiences and too many trainers are unwilling to use this technique. So let's talk about that in our next discussion. 3.10. Good and bad role play. People generally have a strong opinion about role plays. What do you think about role plays? Why do you like them? Or why not? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When finished, press play to continue the seminar. So now, with your new understanding of the 6 primary training methods, lecture, activities, discussion, demonstration, case study, and role play, let's look at the importance of these training methods. There's no doubt that effective training methods are one of the most important components of any training session. Not only do these methods need to be effective at teaching and training employees, they also need to serve the long-term needs of both the organization and its staff. So as you design and develop your training sessions, keep in mind the significance of the methods you select to deliver content. As we've discovered, there are many strategies and methods for training, but it's up to the trainer to decide which strategies are more conducive to their session, style, audience, organization, and so on. Effective training methods meet the varied needs of our participants and reinforce our learning objectives. This is why training methods are critical to the success of any training session, and why each method should be considered carefully in your session design and development. Let's try an exercise. 3-2. Present a method. Break into groups. Each group will present one of the 6 training methods to the large group. For online learners, take this time to use the space provided in your seminar workbook to jot down your own notes about each of the 6 methods as they're outlined in the previous pages of your workbook. Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Choosing the right training method can be a daunting process. There are lots of things to consider: location, number of learners, timing, and outcomes. With so many options out there, deciding on the right training techniques for your workforce can be difficult. This section of our seminar is designed to provide you with a simple tool for selecting the right training methods. There are 3 general criteria, as you see here, that you must take into consideration when you're selecting methods for your training. 1. The learning objectives. 2. The participants. 3. The practical requirements. Let's take a look at each of these criteria in a bit more detail. First, the learning objectives. Will the method effectively lead participants to accomplish the learning objective? Number 2. The participants. Does the method take into account the size, experience levels, and other special circumstances of the group? And finally, number 3, the practical requirements. Is the method feasible given the physical environment, time, materials, and any cost limitations you have? Now let's discuss 3.11, Method for Experts. If your training needs analysis said that participants are very familiar with the training content you plan to present, what training methods come to mind for use? Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue the seminar. Let's continue our discussion. 3.12, Method for 25. If your training needs analysis said that your class size is to be 25 people or more, what training method might you want to consider? Press pause now and complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you've finished, press play to continue with your seminar. And now an exercise, 3.3, Selection Challenge. Identify as many specific training needs or issues that might arise when considering the selection criteria of participants and practical requirements. Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue with your seminar. Now let's put your learning into development of your training session. 3.1, Training Methods. In the space provided in your seminar workbook, jot down the training methods you might consider given the participants and the practical requirements selection criteria. Press pause now to complete this activity in your seminar workbook. When you're finished, press play to continue with your seminar.